Hello and welcome to The Print and this episode of Political Adda. As Himachal Pradesh votes today, the question that we have taken up for discussion is local versus national, how battle lines are drawn in Himachal Pradesh and Gujarat. Please welcome my colleague Manasi Phadke, who is currently in Gujarat and is getting us ground reportage from the state, as well as DK Singh, our political editor. I am Neelam Pandey. So let's begin this episode with first question to Manasi. Manasi, one of our members wants to know, do you think results in Himachal and Gujarat would have any impact on the municipal elections of Mumbai and Delhi, or are they different from each other and they are fought on different agenda? Just want to add that in Delhi, it will have no bearing because it is happening at the same time. So, before the result itself, elections would be over.
Right. So in general, if you see that the issues in civic elections are very different, the geographies are different, margins are different, often players are different. And, at one level, you can argue that if a party has had an immediate victory in an election and there is another election that follows over the next 2 months, then there would be some rub-off effect. Neelam has already spoken about Delhi. So let me talk about Mumbai. So the BMC election, say if BJP is winning Gujarat with a really large margin, that will not have any impact on the BMC election because the Gujarati community in Mumbai is anyway a dedicated vote bank of the BJP. But say if the Congress were to really give the BJP a run for its money in Gujarat, even if it doesn't win Gujarat, but comes close enough to shake the BJP in Gujarat to a certain extent, that narrative will definitely help the Congress in the BMC elections if they happen in the next 2 months. So BMC elections have not been announced yet and they've been delayed for a really long time. And ultimately, it's in the hands of the Election Commission. So we'll also, the results of these elections will also determine when the civic elections will happen at some level.
So let me come to the first question. Neelam has just spoken about local versus national. Is that the same discourse in Gujarat too?
Yeah. What's happening in Gujarat is that a local election is being fought as a national election. An assembly election is being fought as a Lok Sabha election. It is definitely being fought on Modi's name for the BJP over here. And it's not just the BJP. I just went with an AAP rally this morning where Gopal Italia was on his way to file his nomination. And they were also going on having slogans of Ek Vote Kejriwal Ne. So it's Modi versus Kejriwal and versus Congress. Congress is not projecting Rahul Gandhi or anybody else for that matter. But what I see on the ground in Gujarat is that after 6 terms of being in power for any government, the amount of anti-incumbency that should ideally exist is not there. There is neither a big wave like the time there was in 2017 where the Patidar agitation was, the one strong, deterrent for the BJP in some ways. And it also did impact the BJP also because the Congress came very close to the BJP. There is no one strong wave this time. There are small issues everywhere, like the government's handling of COVID or the Bilkis Bano convicts remission, the Mundra drug haul and the Congress's campaign surrounding it, that the BJP has not checked a drug trade in Gujarat and actually has allowed it to flourish. So there are these small, Morbi bridge collapse as well. But none of these small issues have snowballed into, one major factor that can really haunt the government. Now there is some anti-incumbency in Gujarat. But and the BJP is also recognizing that, and it's most likely to happen in the young voting population who just want a change. Who just want to probably explore what else could there be. The 18 to 35 years of age, and we've done a story on that, the population which has never really seen a Congress government and which probably doesn't even remember what Modi did in his early years as chief minister. So there is some effort from the BJP to kind of catch them young, get them registered as voters, help them in every paperwork, for all possible things, go to campuses, talk about it. So yeah, all of that is happening. But at the helm of all of that, even when they go to college campuses, they say my first vote for Modi, not my first vote for Bhupendra Patel, not my first vote for C.R. Patil, not my first vote for Gujarat's development, my first vote for Modi. And when I speak to people over here, they say that, the BJP has also tried to remedy that, and to a certain extent, that I mean, a lot of them are really upset with their public representatives. The representatives have not done enough, have not been seen enough. But then we'll still vote for Modi because he is a Gujarati who is doing great things at the center, and we should support our man. So that is the sentiment. So here is a case, as DK sir rightly said, the local election, national election, the boundaries have sort of gotten all meshed together.
You remember that Andhi film, 1975, where Suchitra Sen is out there campaigning and you have this song playing, Salam Kijiye Ali Janab aaye hain, 5 saalon ka dene hisab aaya hai, and yet she goes on to win. So, anti-incumbency on the ground, fine. Let's see which way it's heading.
Well, that is exactly the question that viewer has for you.
Yeah.
Who is winning in Gujarat and Himachal Pradesh, or what is the trend?
Well, I'll never hazard a guess. As a journalist, I'd never do the who is going to win. I don't know. You get to see some trend, but as Manasi is there on the ground, I was there last week. What do you do as a reporter? So usually in the field you meet 2 sets of reporter, 2 sets of people. First set would be unhappy about what's happening on the ground, and they would like to change the government, change the MLA. Another set would be a bit appreciative of the government's effort. And there would of course be a third set which would keep playing with you, not giving any indication of which way that person is thinking. But you go there, town after town, village after village, it's the same thing. You have these 2 sets or 3 sets of people.
Right.
And so you want to, go to more towns, more villages, meet more people to try to get some trend. But at the end of the day, even after a week or 10 days in the field, how many people can you meet? And that sample size is very small. So yes, if you meet everybody and 8 out of 10 people are telling you that, okay, we are sticking with this government and Modi is fine, then you have this sense that maybe the BJP has a clear edge. But more often than not, it becomes like 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, or 5 out of 10. It becomes very confusing. So yes, and it depends from one area to another. So if she has gone to an AAP rally and the kind of mobilization has happened, you will get a different interpretation. Then somewhere else different. So to say which party is going to win is very difficult. Yes, you can see some edge, but you can always go wrong. And that's why it's always hazardous for a reporter to actually say very clearly who is going to win, who is going to lose. So what I'm going to do here today is I've got some data now. I'm bringing some numbers for the viewers just to try to make some sense of how Himachalis and Gujaratis have been voting generally, and if there is some trend visible.
Right.
So, and these numbers are all there on the screen, so you can see that. Look at Himachal first. So first of all, let me address the elephant in the room, the Modi factor everybody is talking about, whether Modi will have a clear influence. Well, if you look at the Lok Sabha results in these elections, that factor is huge. And you have seen last 2 Lok Sabha elections, BJP has swept in Gujarat and Himachal, 26 seats, 4 seats. So it's all very visible. Look at the vote share or comparison between the vote shares of these 2 parties, Congress and BJP. In Himachal, the difference in vote shares of the 2 is 42%. In the last election, Congress got 27.5%, BJP got almost 70%. That's a huge vote share gap. For Gujarat, in the last election, this gap is of 31%. Congress getting 32.5%, BJP getting 63%. It's a huge gap. So in Lok Sabha, Modi is all over. Congress stands no chance there. But then you look at assembly elections and it's not very clear. Although you do see some trends. So in Himachal, for instance, since 1990, you have not had any government which is re-elected there. So that's why the Congress is fancying a chance. Probably this trend will continue. But look at the vote shares of these 2 parties in the past 4 elections, 2003, 7, 12 and 17. So Congress's vote share has been kind of intact, 39 to 42%. So it was 41% in 2003. 2007 it went slightly low, down to 39%. Then 2012 went up to 43%. It's all there on the screen, you can see. So it has a particular chunk of voters who always vote for the Congress. I mean, a chunk, I won't say every voter does the same, basically, but that chunk is always there for this party. It's for 39 to 42. for the BJP, I mean, what BJP would be looking at, you know, in 2012, in pre-Modi era, when BJP lost the election, it had got 38.47%. And it went up by almost 10 percentage point
in the next.
In 2017 election when Modi was a factor. And that's why you see the BJP and Modi all over Himachal Pradesh. And the other day in Solan, he was addressing a crowd where he said you don't even look at the candidates. You don't have to remember who you are voting for. Just vote for Lotus and then you are voting for Modi. He is actually staking his persona, his image in this election in Himachal. Probably because, you know, probably he can swing. Jairam Thakur, well, he has been a decent CM, no controversy as such. But on the ground, you don't really see people talking about Jairam Thakur. But the Congress does not have any face at all. How it will play out, how much Modi factor will play out this time too, that has to be seen. Anti-incumbency, of course, like in every election you go, you have people talking about their problems. In Himachal also you have people talking about the apple growers being unhappy. You have, you know, this people in the new pension scheme unhappy, and that's what Congress is promising, that old pension scheme. But these, some factors or the other, in every election you have some factor or the other which the opposition has in its favor and which the government has in its favor. So when you look at the numbers, what stands out for me is that 10% votes, 10% votes, extra votes that the BJP got from 2012 to 2017, will the BJP be able to maintain that vote share with Modi's help? Or will that trend of, you know, changing government every 5 years will continue? So we don't know. So looking at the data, it's very difficult to say. But in Gujarat, it's, you know, clear actually. In Gujarat, I have seen the data for the last 7 elections.
Right.
And before that, in fact. You look at these 7 elections and see, the interesting thing is the gap in vote shares of the Congress and the BJP has always been in the range of 8 to 10%. So that gap has not gone. So if you look at the vote share, again, their vote block seems to be solidified. So for the Congress, I'm going back to 1995 when the BJP formed the government on its own for the first time. In 1990 also it was part of the government, but in 95 they formed the government on its own. Look at the election results in 95 and 98. In 95, between these two elections, in 98, the Congress gains 2% more votes. BJP also gains 2% more. So both parties are gaining. Even in 2002, when the BJP gained 5% extra votes, from 44 to 50% in fact, in 2002. So in 2002, you have, in 98, BJP had about 45% vote. BJP got 50%. So 5% extra votes in 2002 post Godra. But you'll be surprised, even the Congress gained 5% more. The gap in their vote share remained the same, 10%, 10%. So there was this gap, 10% in 95, 10% in 98, 10% in 2002.
Right.
Both sides, both parties gained 5%. Even in 2002 when you saw this BJP wave. And then you look at the last 4 elections in Gujarat. It's, you know, the Congress is very hopeful that they think the party gaining, because in 2002 it was 51 seats they had. Then they got 59, then 61, then 77. They see their number of seats going up. And then they also see that, you know, their vote share has been almost intact, 40 to 41%. To 40 to almost 41.5% in 2017. And they see this gap of 10% we talked about. From 95, 98, 2002, it was 10%. It went up to 11% in 2007. But then from in 2012, the gap came down to 9%. 2017, it came down to 8%. But is that good enough? It's vote share maybe, that gap may be narrowing, but it's very little, just 1% every year. More importantly, when we talk about the Congress having a solidified vote bank, where the party manages to get 40 to 41% every year, right, in every election, BJP's vote bank is also solid. So look at the BJP's vote. Say BJP's vote share has been hovering around 50% in the last 4 elections. Around 50%. In the last election, it was 49%. Before that, 48%. Again, 49%. Then 50% 2002. So Congress is around 40-41. BJP around 50. And they are solid vote banks. I mean, it's not, you look at the trend. You may have, results may be different. Sometimes you may be getting 51, 59. In fact, in 2017, they got just 99 seats. But their vote bank is solid, around 49%, 49 to 50%. That tells you the story of this huge, disadvantage the Congress has there. Because over the last, since 1995, the gap in their vote share overall has been between 8 and 10%. It's a huge gap and it has been consistent. But what is new in this election is, I would say, again, it's a triangular contest, or at least it is promising to be. And the last time there was a triangular contest, that was when the Congress's stranglehold was broken. That was in 1990. So you had Janata Dal led by Chimanbhai. Then you had BJP. BJP was just coming on its own. And then the Congress. And in 1990 election, when this triangular contest happened, Congress's vote share came down from 55% to 31%. Huge dip from 85. First time you had this triangular contest in 90, Congress's vote share is down by about 24%, 25%. Congress's tally in the assembly goes down from 149 to 33. So huge disruption in it. And after that, Congress has only been trying to recover. Although, as I said, in 90 also, when Congress's vote share came down to 31%, and again, that may give congressmen hope. From 31%, next election it went to 33%, next election 35%, then again 41%, 39%, and again that range of 40-42. In this election, what will happen? Again, you have a triangular contest. We don't know. But 30 years back, 32 years back, when there was a triangular contest, you had the ruling party suffering. But that was also because the ruling party had been there for all those decades. Except that Janata Party interregnum. And sometimes there is Congress was there. All through, Congress was ruling Gujarat. And then you come to 1990 onwards. Congress has this vote bank, but that's also because it's a bipolar polity. It's not growing that much, while BJP has half of the voters voting for it in every election. Let's see, again there is a triangular contest, how it will work out. As Manasi tells us that, well, AAP is getting traction, but do people have enough resentment to basically try to do what happened in 1990 to the most dominant party in the state? I was also there. Manasi had the same feedback. We don't really see that tsunami, what you witnessed, say, in Punjab. But yes, 50% is there. Again, both main parties' vote banks are secure. How much of a disruptor will the AAP be? Whether it will damage the BJP more or whether it will damage the Congress more, we don't know yet. And that's the state of play right now.
We'll take another question. It's about rebellion that, the 20 plus leaders of BJP apparently were not happy with ticket distribution and they are fighting against their own candidates in, Himachal Pradesh, Goa or Uttarakhand. And, the viewer wants to know that is it because of, just about rebellion, or that the local leadership is not able to control such dissent?
You should be answering that question. You cover the party.
Yes. So BJP was facing rebellion in almost 20 seats in Himachal Pradesh, and especially Kangra and Mandi district. And Kangra is politically significant because it has around 15 assembly constituencies. And right now itself there are in this district there are many seats on which it is facing rebellion. At the same time, if you look at Mandi, which is Chief Minister Jairam Thakur's home district, there the party had won 9 out of 10 seats. And again, this time the scenario might be a little difficult or challenging for the party, because despite assurances from JP Nadda and Amit Shah, who held a series of meetings before soon after ticket distribution, many of the leaders refused to, they didn't go with the party leader, and they said that they will contest the elections. At the same time, even yesterday, party took action against one of its own leaders, saying that she was indulging in anti-party activities. So just imagine, a day before voting takes place, BJP is taking disciplinary action against its own candidates. It is not just Himachal Pradesh, where the party tried very hard to beat anti-incumbency by replacing a number of its sitting MLAs. But if you look at the Gujarat election, where the party came up with the 160 list, and out of 160, 38 have been denied ticket, or they have been excluded. It includes former chief ministers, it includes former home minister, a number of cabinet ministers who were replaced during Mr. Rupani's rule. And at the same time, many of the BJP leaders are pointing out that it was important, and it is part of their strategy to change these sitting MLAs, because there was this anti-incumbency that could only be tackled if these sitting MLAs were changed. I would just like to add that in 2017 MCD elections also, this is something that the leadership had decided to do. It did not field any of its sitting councillors. And why they did this was because BJP has been ruling in Delhi for almost over 15 years, something which is similar in Gujarat too. So this is one of their ways of ensuring that they can quell rebellion. In Gujarat, for instance, they have already asked a number of senior leaders to reach out to these rebel leaders and ensure that what happened in Himachal Pradesh, which became a big news for everyone, something like that does not repeat in Gujarat. But at the same time, a few of the leaders have already started saying that their followers want them to contest independently. There's one of the leaders, for instance, Madhubhai Srivastav, who's also a very experienced MLA. He's saying that he will first hold a meeting with his people, and whatever they say, he will decide whether to contest as an independent candidate or not. But at the same time, this is not something which is happening only in Himachal Pradesh or Gujarat. This is something that happened in Maharashtra also. It's also about how the state leadership is also able to tackle these issues. It was done much better in Maharashtra, for instance. However, in Himachal Pradesh, despite the assurances, the party was not able to quell it.
There lies a difference, in fact. In Himachal, when you have rebels, the leadership is not strong enough to control them. State leadership, JP Nadda is from Himachal.
Right.
He was not able to control them. In Gujarat, I would really wonder how many people would speak out against a party which has been dominated by Amit Shah and Modi all these years. So there is this loyalty, and as some even AAP leaders were telling us, that they have people in every village, and Modi would know everybody. Right. Say, right from not just in every constituency, like in every booth, every assembly, you'll have people that these people would be knowing directly. So one call from Modi or Amit Shah would fix things. That's not happening in Himachal, in fact.
Yes. Manasi, a question from you, from our member. Don't you think BJP should go for a young and dynamic leader as a CM in states like Himachal and Gujarat to develop a CM candidate for next elections, just like they did in UP, so that they don't need to depend so much on Prime Minister Narendra Modi, as even DK sir was talking about, as it usually happens in assembly elections?
It worked in Maharashtra for sure.
Yeah, so exactly. So young and dynamic may work well with people for the short term, but young and dynamic also means that the leaders are ambitious. They want to make their own political career. They want to make their own mark, and they will eventually become power centers and tread on the footsteps of other existing power centers. So whether Gujarat needs to depend on Modi, no, Gujarat wants to depend on Modi. That is the difference. You see what happened in Maharashtra. I mean, Fadnavis, it's not like he's completely fallen out of favor, but you see that Devendra Fadnavis came as this young chief minister who has a vision and who can change things, etc., etc., and he developed a following of his own. But he had a lot of friction with old timers of the BJP, and there have been times when the leadership in Delhi has had to cut him to size, like what happened when JP Nadda suddenly made like a unilateral announcement that he will be sworn in as the deputy chief minister, when just hours ago he had gone off script, which we know, and said that he will sit out of the government and be more like a margadarshak, etc. So yeah, I mean, young and dynamic is fine, but it also, I mean, they don't want to risk creating power centers. They would rather have their yes men in states like Goa, for example. I know it's a small state, but Pramod is young, but he doesn't have political ambitions that will grow bigger than the other leaders present there, or bigger than the leadership in Delhi as well. He is a yes man in some ways. And so is Bhupendra Patel. Bhupendra Patel in Gujarat was a first time MLA, suddenly made into a CM when he least expected it. So he will, follow the script of his benefactor. And on the ground, he has a very good image, or he is very popular among Karyakartas. He is very accessible to Karyakartas, and he doesn't speak to the media at all. So, which eliminates the scope for him saying something wrong and creating controversies, which will hurt the BJP leadership and the government. So, these are some of the reasons why they would rather have people towing their line as chief ministers in states than create alternative, strongmen.
Sahil Singh has a question for you, DK sir. He wants to know, don't you think that a mass leader at central level eclipses the popularity of state leaders, whether leaders are from his own party or opposition?
But that has always been true. Eclipsing is fine. When you have a phenomenon like Narendra Modi, it will happen. It did not happen with Rahul Gandhi. Now, Rahul Gandhi, even now you have somebody like Baghel, for instance. Rahul Gandhi did not eclipse Baghel in Chhattisgarh. He cannot eclipse Ashok Gehlot in Rajasthan. He cannot eclipse Bhupinder Hooda in Haryana.
Right.
Depends who are the central leaders we are talking about. When you're talking about Narendra Modi, it's absolutely different.
Another question by Kartik Parashar is, do you think there is a sort of understanding between the Aam Aadmi Party and Congress to take down BJP, with which BJP is now fighting two political opponents, whereas in the past they were only fighting one, and their success against Congress was transactional across the country?
I don't think this will work that way. Saying that Congress and AAP are working together, it's actually just the opposite. Because the AAP is actually looking at to emerge as the principal opposition party.
Right.
So, Congress becomes its enemy number one, if you call that. They may be fighting against the BJP, but ultimately the idea is to emerge as the main challenger of the BJP. And that's what you're looking at in Gujarat also. Nobody is talking about who will be number one. Everybody is talking about who will be number two, whether it will be Congress or the Aam Aadmi Party.
Another question for you. Do you think win in assembly elections in Gujarat and Himachal Pradesh would further strengthen the narrative of BJP to implement the Uniform Civil Code all over India? And if whether BJP leadership is serious in implementing the same, would it be a political narrative only till 2024 elections?
So look at this, how this entire UCC thing is getting delayed in Uttarakhand also.
Right.
But talking about implementing it nationally, the RSS has some issues about it. For RSS is very concerned how it will impact the tribals. And RSS has been working among tribals for decades. Tribals have their own customs, this, that. So it's not, UCC is generally seen through the prism of this, through this Hindu-Muslim prism. How will it impact the Muslims? But the tribals, again, like among tribals, BJP has a big vote bank. And the Prime Minister himself has been making this very strong outreach towards tribals.
Right.
RSS has issues, whether this UCC would disrupt their customs the way they are used to doing things and, their own practices.
In Uttarakhand, they're reaching out to tribals also.
But until they are assured that, it won't really affect their tribal vote bank, I don't think they will go that way.
Manasi, a question for you. Considering you are in Gujarat, you've been there for quite a few days. Give us a sense of what does it look like, as far as Gujarat elections are concerned.
So when till my first day in Gujarat, the narrative that I had in mind was the narrative that has been nationally set generally, collectively. I will not say by somebody or the other, but that Congress is not in the picture at all. That Congress is not giving it a fight. That was the understanding, which is absolutely not true, which is what I realized on my very first day over here. Congress is still likely to be the number two, the main opposition force, and the BJP is considering Congress to be its opposition force. When I speak to BJP leaders, They also say that the dedicated vote bank of the Congress, whether it's 30% or 40%, it might be a little here and there, but that will still go to the Congress. AAP will definitely get enough to pitch its tent in the state. AAP has fought a few civic elections over here, and the places where it has built its cadre are the places where it has the best chance at possibly winning a seat or two, or at least damaging or getting enough vote share, like South Gujarat, especially Surat, or parts of Saurashtra, Rajkot. It has a few councillors as well. So that's how it looks like. And with regards to the Congress, actually, I mean, the narrative that it is not in the fight. See, in 2017, Congress was visibly in the fight. Rahul Gandhi had addressed a number of rallies. Their campaign of Vikas Gando Thai Gayo Che had literally gone viral. So there was a lot of hype surrounding the Congress. But this time, what the party is really doing is that they are working very silently on the grassroots. And which is what DK sir also said, the whole vote share business of trying to increase their vote share, converting the non-voters into voters, targeting particular polling booths which are, where they could be influencers and where they could swing the vote. These are some of the kind of things that are happening on the ground. And, Congress leaders themselves admit that this time they are making that effort, whereas the last time they hadn't to such an extent. Whether those efforts will bear fruit or not, that we'll only know once the results are out. But it's not that they are not giving it a fight. This is the impression that I got. And BJP, of course, I mean, after, as I said earlier, after 6 terms of being in government, there should be a lot of anti-incumbency. Common sense dictates that there should be, but on ground, you don't really feel that strong wave, resentment, anger anywhere at all.
Manasi, I may add here, I met Alpesh Thakur in Ahmedabad, and he made a very interesting observation. He said, yes, there are problems with the youth. There are problems of unemployment, of course. Farmers have issues, women have issues. Every section has some issue or the other. But the point is, if the BJP cannot solve them, will the Congress do? People don't think that. So it's about that credibility where, okay, there are issues, but probably they have their best hope in the BJP. And, the same day, in fact, I was talking to a street vendor in Ahmedabad, and yes, she was cribbing about inflation and this and that, everything. And then we started talking about parties. She said, अरे कौन चेंज कर देगा, ये सब तो हमेशा चलता ही रहता है. Meaning that, even why to talk about regime change? This has happened in the past. This will continue to happen in the past, no matter which party comes. So, that narrative where the opposition needs to build that, okay, we are capable of doing that and BJP can't. That they are not able to build so far.
Right.
Another question from Sankalp, who's also a member. Has Rahul shifted loyalty from BJP to AAP? A video of Rahul making a statement on projects going to Gujarat from Maharashtra has gone viral. Will this be the Maut Ka Saudagar moment for Rahul? What was the purpose of such a statement amidst the election?
That's very surprising, and that tells you how detached Rahul Gandhi may be from what is happening to his party in these elections. So you had Narendra Modi inaugurating the Airbus factory in Gujarat.
Yeah.
And yet he did not sell it like the look, I have brought it from Maharashtra. I started this project from Maharashtra and brought it to you.
He didn't showcase it.
In an election time, you would expect some BJP leader to showcase it like that, but he was very careful because he has to contest in Maharashtra again. And here, he is talking about, Foxconn is talking about Airbus in Maharashtra while elections are on, while his party colleagues are fighting in Gujarat. Very strange, and this tells you how apolitical he can be or non-political he can be.
Well, that is all we had time for. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Manasi, for joining. Thank you, DK.
Thanks, Neelam.